intend to offend, we will offend. And if you have a delicate sensibility, click the X button in the corner, or if you're on a Mac, the red button in the left corner. Monty, welcome to the show of offending people.
Well, it never happened and I make shit up. So just, for the last couple of weeks, everyone that has asked for a reading, apparently you're all from Scotland, from Purley in Scotland. You all live the same lives. It's very metaphysical, because we're all one. And I can't read the Akashic Records. I didn't even have a card.
Welcome, everyone, to another Friday comedy show. We are joined by Montesaurus Dean Rex, Bruce the Don Macdonald, and the lady in the red dress, Melissa Hocking Hughes. And welcome to our Friday comedy show, everyone.
Huzzah!
Honestly, the chat room is buzzing already. How early did these guys come into the room?
Well, one person was an hour early. Hello, Ryan.
well, in this day and age on the internet, you can trace everything. You can track everything. So we can, if you really want an answer, we can actually follow back their digital footprint and seeing how long these people have been in. I mean, a documentary has been created about the voting context of 2020 election. So, I mean, it is possible.
What's the name of that documentary, Monty?
It's called 2,000 Mules, but spoiler alert, it should be called 54,000 Mules.
Who made that documentary,
Monty? Someone that's not paying me to say their name.
Okay.
D'Souza, Mr. D'Souza.
But no.
Why don't you answer some questions there, Bruce, instead of asking me?
Well, it's worth a watch. You know, definitely I watched it on Monty's recommendation and I really enjoyed it. But you don't want to inflame that whole binary again of Republican and Democrat, because it's not the solution, but it kind of sucks you in like the Super Bowl. Like I'm kind of almost buying a ticket from a scalper. I'm almost.
Well, it's Green Paint Packer against the Niners. Oh, that sounds good. And Edlin, thank you for YouTube censored me this week. A big huzzah.
Monty's finally been censored. Thank God.
Yeah.
He's been so hungry to join the club. He's finally part of it.
It only took 18 months. The show was 18 months ago, and it was about misinformation about the election. So Bruce was on this week's show. So what do? I start the show pointing out YouTube has censored me because I'm spreading misinformation about the federal election of 2020. By the way, there's a documentary called 2,000 Mules. And for the next half hour, I triple down on the misinformation about fraud. Good times.
So, Monty, your next goal is when your first video is demonetized.
Well, see, one thing that has that.
That's your next goal. I know, that's your next goal.
Yeah, I know, but something has to happen before that. I have to be monetized, then demonetized.
Yes, figure that bit out. Then you can be deplatformed. I mean, that would be exciting.
Oh, well, no, see, that's why I put up my shows on Rumble and Odyssey and BitChute, because I was afraid of censorship. But now there is censorship. It was like, haha. But I'm not earning money from YouTube yet, because you need to get 1,000 subscribers in 12 months. And I'm up to 667. Yes. Yeah, you and 1,000 friends, just click on that subscribe button. Oh, and then send me money. If you've got 1,000 friends, come on now. Just share a couple of shekels. It'd be fine.
Now, Andrew put up a great post that on various social media about Friday the 13th, which, of course, is what it is over there at the moment. And I loved that post. Andrew, can you spit on the post about
it is it's a mystical day in 1,000 pagan religions spread around the world that has been bastardized by modern horror movies. And guess what? It is a day within days. That is a day within days. That is representing a cycle of days that are completed day after day. But one must understand, as a magical practitioner, it is a unique day to express oneself.
Because it's an incredibly fortuitous day. It's an incredibly lucky day, an incredibly abundant day. And it also works inside the actual calendar, the lunar calendar. And so,
right. So the irony, so we have a Friday the 13th in a month that is a blue moon. That means we have 2 full moons in a month.
We do, and we've got the solar eclipse next 2 days.
And the fact that we've been getting cooked on solar flares left and right is ridiculous.
Yeah, since the lunar eclipse, what was that, 12 days ago? This next eclipse is a beauty as well. It's a really cool time to be here.
I also want to quickly just point out because of the timing of we're talking about this, apologies to 2/3 of the planet where it's the 14th. Express yourself and do all that stuff like, well, I'll remember that next time. Thank you so much.
It's only about 1/3 at this time, I think.
Well, technically, a very short part of your day was Friday the 13th.
Oh, someone in the chat room, I'm sorry I didn't see your name, but they just mentioned they had lightning therapy in this past week, which perhaps later, if we're taking calls, that particular individual could pipe in, because that would be something really cool to talk about in this time with everything going on.
So is that like Benjamin Franklin, where you get a kite and a key and stand out in the rain? Like that, like, do you need therapy because you're trying to catch lightning? I'm not sure what this is.
Except in Australia.
No, excuse me. Right, fine. All right. If you want to live in the past, I want to say happy Terminator Day for the 12th of May, because 38 years ago, Kyle Reese was sent back in time to stop the Terminator killing Sarah Connor. All right?
Yep. Well, that didn't work.
Did you see all the people that were using the quote, "You cannot negotiate it, it will kill you no matter what," and relating it to the people on the woke side?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah, the Facebook algorithm, it will hunt you down. It will never stop until you're banned.
Yes.
Look, Friday the 13th is an awesome day, and it's one that you should use. So if you're still there in the 13th and you want something auspicious to happen for you, anything in terms of abundance, anything like that, it works on the calendar, the real calendar, the lunar calendar. So there's 13. Months in the year.
Time is relative. So if you are in Australia, you can still have a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, you can. And it's but the cool thing about one of the I do many packages and sessions, but one of the sessions that I actually run for people is I created this during the whole pandemic and everyone was panicking about the viruses and everything. And so I created a heavily discounted, but you could have a remote session every month that kept your immunity in place, which I would actually do the remote session on you. And I run that not by accident on the lunar calendar. So you pay for like 12 sessions, you get 13 because it's run. I do the sessions on every new moon. And so that it's actually, that's not by accident either. I run it on that lunar cycle very deliberately. So it increases the power and the ongoing effect of those sessions on the individuals that are and were signed up for that. And so it's currently there's a big debate about that particular package at the moment because it's grossly discounted to what I usually charge for it. And but that was created when people were panicking, no one could work, everyone was locked down. It was and of course, when you actually understand how viruses work, it was way more important to do preventative health sessions than it was to actually have to deal with the virus in hindsight.
Now, remember, if anyone attacks you for this session, because apparently the moon has no effect on anything, just go, the tides. If the moon... apparently that's the term
lunatic.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm just pointing it out. I just made a joke in my head where it's like, the moon doesn't affect people on this planet or affect anything on the planet. Well, explain the tides then. Well, that's Vulcan jumping up and down underneath the sea.
Oh, and here's a really great example of how I could use it. Yesterday, I had to call the terrifying Australian Taxation Office.
Sorry.
They'd sent me some dirty letter saying I owed them money. They're actually always really, I better not badmouth them publicly, actually. I love you guys.
They're doing a great service for the Australian community. Yeah. I love you so much.
I waited to call them until Friday the 13th I received sort of letters and stuff on the Monday. I didn't call them until Friday, and called them, and oh my God, they were nice, and I got everything I wanted, and they were so apologetic, and so I should have recorded it. It'll go down in history as the nicest interaction with the ATO ever. The taxation of it. So yeah, use it in whatever way you want to. So use the Friday the
13th. The system of domination and control, because they always say Friday the 13th is bad. I mean, that's how the movies start out, because Jason gets upset, gets slashy. But the story is that the Pope decided to kill all the Knights Templar on that date, and that's why it's unlucky, blah, blah, blah. But that's obviously propaganda, just to diffuse people from the positive aspects of said date.
It's also a ritual sacrifice of the said Templars on that date too. But part of the propaganda was it's an unlucky day because we just sacrificed all the Knights Templar.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They twisted it. Yeah, I know there's a reason that the Pope would have chosen it. Like, I need something good for me. I don't know. I'm going to kill everyone in the secret society.
Happy birthday.
Well, look, just to calm everyone in the chat room, I haven't defrauded the tax department or anything like that. It was actually I'd been paying tax to the wrong online account, so to them. So I just actually had to find out where all the money had gone, which was on them, and put it in the right account. And so it wasn't any defrauding or anything like that. So don't worry, I'm not going to get arrested or anything. It was actually about getting the money to the right place.
Yeah, but taxation is theft. So, and also, Friday the 13th, your Roman numeral calendars, mate. Sorry. Like that, there's no such. I love going to your events, Melissa. And I know you sort of grit your teeth. Like, the only thing on this planet that is real is time. And then I whisper, but that's also an illusion. It's like, shut up. let them slowly learn that, because it is, as you expand, yes, time is the only viable thing. And when you reach that level, you realize, well, yeah, kind of, it isn't.
But speaking of benefits, just a bit of a spoiler. At the end of the show, I've created some gifts for you guys, just for this audience. I'm pretty excited. But so hang about, because I've got some cool stuff for you guys at the end of this. But
Bruce,
presents. We all have
Bruce, you've been awful silent over there. Are you brooding in your Talmudic processes over there, wanting to know Scottish. when the Israelites and all of those little people are going to have their little doom and gloom?
No, I'm actually completely relaxed. Just on day 3 of a fast. So I'm just completely even. And I will be practicing what I call snapping turtle comedy on this show. It's kind of like Bob Newell. Get ready. You'll never see it coming.
Is that, Bruce, is that the fast that I was asking you about last week?
Yeah, I'm doing the Stanros Master Cleanse. I do it with sugarcane that's processed within like 50 kilometers of me, and lemons off my own tree, and water from my mountain stream. And it's really trippy. Now, I haven't done it for a couple of years. I used to fast 2-3 times a year religiously for 15 years, but my wife completely changed my diet. She loves food, and when you're around a foodie, you start to eat more too. And I just got to the point after Easter, okay, that's it. You're a fat pig, Bruce, and you're not thinking right, and you're drinking too much coffee, and everything about your body is asking too much. So shut it down. It's time for a fast. And it's really beautiful. I'm going to go for 11 days if I can make it.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes I fall. Yeah. And you lose about 10 kilograms. And it's really good. And I do it with a lot of meditation as well. It's really good for spiritual practice too. Yeah.
I remember going into a fast. Like, my body decided to go into a fast. I didn't. My body said, no, let's do this right now. And it was a natural thing. But what I found, when you go to the toilet and it's black, that's an interesting moment. Like, you're cleansing so much, it's like the bell's like, all right, let's get the black shit out.
Yeah. So I also burn coconut husks sometimes up here and get the charcoal, and I drink that, and that cleans out I'll probably do that during this fast. But I think it's just really important to clean your body once or twice a year. It's like changing the oil in your right?
Although I confess I've never made it past 3 days.
Fed the colonic quartermaster over here.
Wet and wild, wet and wild.
If there's one of the super comfortable machines with the warm water close for $40, I'd do it that way, Andrew, but there isn't.
Well, you got a new business to do on the mountain.
Oh my God. No, thank you. Thank you. No.
You hire a local person to stick the tube up there.
Water pressure here is very unpredictable.
Gravity.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'll do a healing session on someone that has been sneakily self-medicating with various drugs. And thank you, Robert. And I will warn them. I particularly love it when I have a client come in it's usually a male that's a married male, like he's come in, his wife has made him come in to see me. The door closes on the treatment room where she's out the waiting room, and he'll say, I'm only here because my wife made me come here. And that's always one of my favorite clients, because they're such a naysayer, and they're such a, they can't believe. And I had one in particular. It's usually those guys that come in and we'll sit down and they're like, I'm just here because, my neck's bad and I've had to have surgery and blah, blah. And I'll be sitting there and saying, can we talk about the medications that you're taking? Oh, I'm not taking any medications. And I said, yeah, I can see 11. Like, how many more do we need to discuss? What the hell are you taking all these for? Is this for the pain? And he said, yeah, that was like serious medication that his wife, who they don't have kids or anything, so she's keeping a close eye, and she had no idea that he was doing this. He was going around to various doctors getting various prescriptions of things like endone and heavy meds. And I said to him at the end of the session, I said to him, listen, I'm going to have to warn you tonight, you're going to have a really nasty black bowel movement. And he's going, right. And I said, don't be scared. We just got to get all of that toxicity out of that bowel straight away. And his wife to this day loves telling the story, particularly at dinner parties, about this. He was terrified by this massive black bowel movement, and apparently the house stank for 3 days. I warned him, but yeah, you put that toxic crap in there, the first thing you got to do is get that stuff out. It's amazing the damage that does to the lining of the bowel. And so, yeah, obviously he's converted. He's no longer the naysayer. But it's always the guy that comes in and says to me, I'm only here because my wife made me come.
Well, one of our mantras is life is better after a big poo. And he had a big poo.
Right.
Oh, he did.
Everyone here has taken a poo and has had bounce back in their step afterwards. Okay? Now, Eric in the chat room is, you can make people poo? Yes, she can. She is the poo queen. Now, because we've started on the poo story and we talked about the bear poo last time, I have a few poo stories also. And I will simply put it at this. There are times where you run to somebody who's so full of shit and you got to tell them. And at the end of the session, you're going to say, in the next 2 to 3 days, you are going to be porcelain pot bound. Okay? Bring a book. Okay? And I've had this happen many, 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 many times where it just keeps coming and coming, and they're dropping logs the size of tree branches. Okay? And they're coming out with a little knot on the side, and it tears right into their side. But yes, when you do a session and somebody has to cleanse that stuff, if they don't cleanse it, the session is useless. And there are things that you can do at an energetic level that just help grease the skids. That's right. It's so important. I cannot get your body to rebuild its cellular structure until that is clear. But it just can't. And even Andrew actually assisted me with a session only a few days ago. And there was a whole other level of toxicity that was in the lining, but between the lining in the bowel. And, and, initially Andrew said, you've got a few things you've got to clear. And that was actually
stored memory, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah.
This is a whole other level of work again, but it was stored memory. And Andrew said, you've got a few in there. And when I had a look, I said, no, I've got about 70 or 80.
Yeah.
And it was
all of that mucus later, and all those stored negative memories will make it very easy for other things to squat and hide right on the edge of the mucus lining and the wall of the intestinal tract.
Yeah, it was a session where Andrew and I were like, bloody hell, how many assaults have there been on you?
Yeah, I believe you described it like you were the rally car driver and I was the guy, the map guy.
Navigator.
Yeah, and Andrew and I've done a couple of sessions in this last fortnight together.
Yeah,
and that's what it's like.
Yeah, left, your other left. And she took out a crowd of lizards.
Yeah, it's an interdimensional rally car, and it's very much where Andrew's the navigator, I'm the driver, and Andrew has placed my sword on the front bonnet just to collect as many.
Meanwhile, me and Bruce are sitting in the commentary box doing commentating on the rally.
That's right. Bruce is there making sure it's not censored.
At one point, you had 8 lizards lined up on one sword.
I was busy doing the work.
Yes,
but yeah, it was an hysterical session when Andrew rang me and said, "We've got to do this work on you." And Andrew's navigating, and I'm actually having to self-heal. I was actually having to do that on me. That brings me up to the gift that I've got for you guys. I'm going to teach you how to self-heal for free, but I'll tell you about that at the end of the show. But it was a self-healing session. It's almost in celebration of this massive session that we did, which was actually on my body, which was amazing. But it was back to the imprints that, the imprint, the memory, the stuff that you can store. The bowel is so critical. I mean, more and more we're knowing, even generically, publicly, in articles that they're putting out through generic media, you are seeing more and more stories about how important the bowel is to brain function and to mental health. And so they're getting there, right? Yeah, kombucha is great, but taken at the right time and without other stuff. Don't drink, but it's like a person in the chat room. But I actually have a great friend of mine makes her own kombucha. She's bringing it over today for me, which is great. But it's because even, the healer has to heal themselves. You're really no use if you can't keep yourself in some degree of balance to anyone else. And so people want tips for great poops. But, number one, Bruce is, fiber. That's a good one too. Staying hydrated, good one. But there's some really good basic stuff, but keep moving. Like circulation really matters. So like basic stuff.
Positive mental attitude, whatever you sit on the toilet. Okay, you have a gut brain. Okay, and when you send the energy down to the gut brain and you allow the gut brain to be more than just base instinct in the background, you realize it's an extension of the whole brain itself. It has access to your dream world, and the more that poo that you let go, the better your dream world becomes. Okay, your intestinal tract is what houses your dreaming body. Okay, and when you got to get into the car through the garage door and you've got all that shit around you, you're going to scrape the edge of the car all the time coming in and out of the garage doors. Okay, there are people who are like F-16 fighters landing on an aircraft carrier when they're coming back to their body because they're being chased by shit. Okay, you just can't smack down on the deck and skid into your hangar. Okay.
I just thought of another T-shirt idea. Yeah, shit the pain away.
Now,
shit it away.
That brings up another cool topic because we know, like, recent research over the last, what is it now? Must be 15, 18 years with the Heart Math Institute. They discovered and have proven that the heart has its own brain. So we know that the heart actually has its own neurological structure. They claim it's about 40,000 neurons. However, if you actually look at the electromagnetic field of the, what is this? But if you actually have a look at the electromagnetic field of the human body, the electromagnetic field of the heart is about 500 times bigger than the electromagnetic field of the actual neurological structure in the skull, the brain. in terms of neurological structures through the human body, so they've discovered and proven the one in the heart, which is great. So now we know, I mean, I could go into so many cool stories about heart transplants that I've worked on, because the heart transplant, when they transplant a physical heart into another physical body, there is this, the cells have to shake hands, and they're either friends or they're not. And that's really what happens in terms of a rejection of the heart or an acceptance of the heart to that physical body. And it's why those people that have had heart transplants often will have memories that are not theirs. And so quick story of one client I worked on. She was a lady in her late 30s and had a heart transplant, and suddenly she was remembering all sorts of strange stuff in different languages, and the heart was being rejected. And when I actually worked on her, I said, do you know where this heart has come from? Do you know the person that actually donated this? And she didn't. And I said to her, listen, he's a Chinese gentleman. He was in his 50s, incredibly healthy because he had a great heart. And I said, he died in a car accident. And so I was telling her who he was and all the rest. And suddenly it was making sense that she knew stuff that she would never have known. She had this whole other knowledge that was coming up to the neurology in the brain and the memory in the brain, the consciousness, from having this heart. And it took a bit of introducing to make them friends. That's really what has to happen. The cellular bodies actually have to make friends. It's a really great topic. Anyway, let's go back to the neurological structures through the physical. Yeah.
I've got one sentence. That explains why David Rockefeller had 9 heart transplants and didn't survive.
No,
because it's David Rockefeller.
Rejection.
Yeah.
It's
That's
also why
the Rothschild family will never have a successful one.
Yeah. It's also why in my heart meditation I talk about the slice of brain on your heart. Your heart was your first sacred organ. The second sacred organ was your tongue. And if you process that and understand the tongue is the second, and then the brain, the actual slice of the brain on the heart still is there, it just becomes part of the thymus as the heart grows and the rest of the body goes. So the thymus is considered the high heart. So when you're going through this process of connecting to the information superhighway, it's ingrained into you. You just got to remember where the entrances and exits are so the conscious can get on the super information highway.
As long as you're communicating interdimensionally. So anyone that's clear any of it, clairvoyant, clairaudient, clair cognizant, for me and Andrew, we're clear all of it. Okay. So we're just clear any and all of it. And for any of that,
we should call you Claire.
And for any of that, it lands in the heart. That information comes to the heart before it comes anywhere else. It's not actually different degrees. Psychic stuff comes third eye, all of that. We can talk all about. Yeah, the clairs, that's right. But yeah, in terms of neurological structures in the physical human body, eventually, hopefully, as we're evolving and hopefully rapidly much faster as the human race should, we're going to discover the liver has its own brain. As we just talked about, the tongue is spectacular, and there's no accident that that's what it is. The tongue's a fascinating organ, but the bowel, of course, has its own neurological structure, and it's actually spread out diversely. And so its communication is spectacular, like Andrew was saying before. It's actually got amazing things. They're going to find neurological body and hold in the actual biology of the human structure. Over
the tongue is very tasty. Lingua tacos are spectacular. If you've not had a lingua taco, I highly advise. If you've never had pickled pig's tongue, I highly advise you to try those. Oh, it's wonderful. It is so succulent.
It's too cannibalistic for me. I can't eat
it. Melissa, remember, you're talking to a man that grew up in restaurants. It's not that much of a jump.
No, it's not. Exactly.
I've heard him bragging about his sandwiches and his...
Yeah.
So your elements of communication with your own body is huge.
Yes.
It's just huge.
Now, the first time I had tongue, I have to admit, I was not prepared for it, because I was in San Francisco and I would regularly go to these taco trucks that are run by grandmothers. Like the entire thing is all grandmothers, and they'd seen me come there, and I'm like, I want something different. And she goes, lingua? I'm like, sure, why not? And I knew it was going to be a different meat. I mean, I already had brains with them, which wasn't that bad, sheep brain. And I'm like, damn, this tastes like the texture of a tongue. but it was so succulent, undescribably succulent, undescribably good. And whatever was going on in my brain that this is a tongue just was wiped away with the flavor, the whole process of eating it. And at that particular point, I'm like, tongue is now on my menu.
And that's almost an allegory of how the reptilians started to feed on young children. I know it's a young child, but yeah. Sorry, I went a bit dark with that joke.
That was Monty, Andrew, bringing in that crazy energy, not me.
It's all right. You'll snap at one point.
Monty, start fasting, Monty.
Okay, we know you. It's got to come out. If it's not going to come out your bottom, it'll come out your mouth. Everyone, we joke with Bruce. We joke with Bruce when it comes to the whole Middle Eastern perception of Khazarians and everything centered around them. It's all a greater joke. Now, I don't like lizard tongue. I really don't. It's kind of I don't know, human-y.
You like lizards. That's why you can't have lizard tongue.
So I can't begin to tell you the number of times I had that "it is what it is" moment when you're eating and it's already in your mouth. In the Taiwanese 93.
Now, I have to admit, the first time I had lung, I'm like, I know that this is a different part of the animal I don't have. Let me guess. It didn't really taste like liver, but it was still had that minerally feeling like heart does, like when you taste it. But it was so good. Oh my God, it was so good. Again, if you've never had those other parts, try. Just try. Okay?
There's a reasons that the Native Americans survived so long when they killed one buffalo. They used everything in the buffalo.
Everything. Literally everything. Okay? Now, I'm a kind of person that will eat anything at least once. I did not like fried bat. Okay? This was a long, long time ago. It was just stringy. Okay? I mean, they don't pull the fur off nothing. They just batter it and drop it in the oil. Okay? Okay? And then, yes, I've had Rocky Mountain oysters a variety of different ways. And when done right, they are succulent. And you get over what it is.
I am disgusted. Thank you, Edlin. For someone that has such an intimate knowledge of biological structures, I'm struggling. But I have had someone tell me that lung is like the bacon of the body.
Yes, it's like the bacon of the body. Yes. Okay. So, now I've had a soup called tongue and lung. My absolute favorite. Now it's from Jalisco, Mexico. It's a specialty done by the greatest of grandmothers down there. And if they make it for you, it's you're part of the family. And the first time I had tongue and lung, it was, oh my God, to die for. And I mean to die because it was in this chocolate sauce, which is mole, and it was just to die for.
Hey, on the topic of grandma's cooking for you, there's this fantastic restaurant buried in the laneways underground in the city of Melbourne. It's called the Italian Waiters Club. And it's and every rich, famous person you imagine goes to this place. It's pretty amazing. But the cool thing is it's kind of underground. It's dingy. Nothing matches. It's terrible. And in the center of this place, there are these Italian mamas, like beautiful nonnas. The grandmas are frantically cooking in there. So you have to eat everything because you don't mess with an Italian grandma, right? So you've got to eat everything. But the menu changes every day according to what they've got. You eat what's served to you. Like it's like that. And it's the best food ever because it's just made with that incredible, beautiful grandma passion and love. And it's just awesome. Is your hand up, Andrew?
No, I'm having a cigarette. Sorry. Thinking, I was just dreaming about tongue and lung mole.
This is not an auction now, Melissa. It's not an auction. Oh, the gentleman with the cigarette, $4,000. No, $5,000.
Monty, the risk of sounding, Monty, I think they're starting all this food talk because I said I was fasting.
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
we are.
Sorry,
Yes, we
Bruce.
are.
I'm sorry, Bruce. I wasn't doing that deliberately, Bruce. I'm sorry.
But that's how it turned out. Like, someone's fasting. Let's see. Let's go through everything that he's missing out on. Pavlova. I mean, pavlova is just a bag of sugar coated with cream, but doesn't it taste lovely?
No, look, most of the time I'm plant-based. And I'm like, so vegan, but actually like a plant-based vegan. Something actually it's plant-based, not like Oreos and things that are vegan, but in no way based in anything plant. So like most of the time I am. Where I'm not is where it might offend someone, like an Italian grandma that's made me a fantastic meal. So,
right.
and I will choke down the veal that she's making me eat if I have to. But because I would rather soothe her heart than
the struggle with being vegan is you have to be on par all the time. If you end up being a bad vegan, you will just make yourself sick for long periods of time. And we've had this on the show over and over and over again.
Yeah.
There are a billion Indians that know how to properly eat vegetarian. Unfortunately, we have these idiot Americans who think eating a salad 4 times a day is being vegan. You cannot live off of lettuce. You need protein.
Not at these prices, yeah.
Quite literally, you cannot survive that. Okay?
Look at that view.
Look.
I mean, outside, look at the view in the background. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty spectacular, isn't it? So what are they? Is it like, where is that? Because there's all sorts of fascinating things on that planet. But I actually have a friend.
I think it might be Italy.
Yeah.
But olives, yeah. No, it's all about your protein. My favorite form of protein is hemp. It's just so ridiculously good for you. It's got all the great stuff that your brain needs. It's really good. So that's my favorite form of protein. And
I think you can buy it at Aldi as well. It does say in the package it's not, not for consumption. And everyone's like,
allow me to
whatever.
do a flex for you. Oh, you can't really see me. But yeah, I got muscle and I'm a chick. Yeah. And you can't really see. It's a hard place for me to flex, but I'll do one for you. But it's but yeah, you can still be ripped up, super healthy, super strong. I mean, there was what was that doco on Netflix called? Geez, it was good. It was like Game Changers, something like that. It was great. I mean, seriously, look up the strongest man currently in the world in all the strongman competitions is plant-based. And so
then there are the people that are pure carnivore. It is what your genes desire. And can you change what your genes desire? Yes, you can. It requires discipline in the changing of the metabolism. Unfortunately, so many people choose vegetarianism out of an ideology and not a way of life. And that's what creates bad vegetarians. Okay? I never tell a person to eat meat unless they're about to die. Okay? And to the point where if you don't start getting protein, you're going to die. You've been in anemia for so long, you don't even process food anymore. And I run across this all the time. But people that have been listening to the show have heard these stories over and over and over again. I have literally saved lives of people who were just bad vegetarians. If you're going to choose to be a vegetarian, it's not about the poor little animal. It's about you understanding how to buy food, how to eat it in the right volumes. And if you don't do that, you will just make yourself sick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on a plant-based diet. I eat anything that eats a plant-based diet.
That's exactly
how sheep.
That's exactly how the circle of life's always worked, though. The lion attacks the gazelle, and the first thing the lion eats is the intestines of the gazelle, who is plant-based. So that's how the circle of life's always kind of operated. The humans, of course, we've lost our way in so many ways, and we've lost our way with that. But I was going to say something important, and Monty's distracted me. But in terms of when I do eat meat, and I do, as I said, if it's going to offend someone and someone, whatever, I don't offend people. But there's also, if I eat eggs, it's from happy chickens. It's from chickens that, like friends have given me eggs from their chickens because they've got a surplus or something like that. If I do eat something, I thank the food. I thank the creature that gave its life for that. And so it's His Holiness the Dalai Lama, your biggest of Buddhists, he eats meat because, as Andrew said, it's it's what the DNA knows. He grew up in a place where there was very little plant life. He grew up in the monastery where it was he ate yak. And so his body is used to that. That's what his biology does best. And, he's in his, what is now, mid-80s. And his birthday is 2 days after mine. He always remembers my birthday. I always forget his. It's terrible. Every bloody year. So mine's on the 3rd, his is on the 5th. And I'll get some brown paper package that's come out of India that's that's from him. Damn it. And it's always on the day. He gets it to me on the day out of India. How amazing is that? And I've got 2 days to try and get something to him. Yeah, good on me. But that's usually how I'm reminded.
What I love about the Dalai Lama is the Chinese government calling him a terrorist. Teaching compassion and love, and we can all get along. Yeah, that's a terrorist.
I imagine the true nature of the etymology of the word. They are terrified of him. Powerful.
Mm-hmm. Can I just get political very quickly? I've said this on Planet Collingwood many times. The CCP sucks. Back to you.
So everybody might know David Ellis. He's vegetarian, been vegetarian since a very long time. 6'6", 320, vegan.
Yeah, he's vegan.
Pure vegan. But that's his choice, and he's learned how to maintain the types of weight. And then there are the people who follow the carnivore diet, and they do just as well. Once again, it comes down to your DNA, knowing what you're doing, and then what is your purpose of training. If you go onto a diet solely for an ideology, you failed at the purpose of the diet from the beginning. Okay? The diet is to transform your body from one state to another. An ideology does not transform the state of bodiness. Okay? And if anybody learns anything from this serious moment in our comedy show, it's okay to eat whatever you need to eat, but everything in moderation. Okay? Everything in moderation. Even moderation. Okay?
Remember, you're a spirit having hearing experience.
Story.
So, balance.
The photo that Robert just showed of His Holiness, the actual picture of His Holiness, I recently told Bruce and Andrew the story. Monty's known me forever in every lifetime, so he knows everything. That position that His Holiness was just in then, that was exactly the position he was in when I nearly blinded him with a camera flash. The very first time I met him. I was like a few meters away and forgot to turn the flash off and nearly blinded the poor man in front of many thousands of people. So it's just
instead of bird watching, you're ascended master watching. Oh, there's one.
Well, there I was in the front row, sitting amongst all the burgundy robes of the upper Gensha of Buddhism, and I wasn't expecting to be sitting there, and I certainly wasn't expecting that particular day. And so I was wearing a leather coat. It was winter and it was freezing, and I was wearing this leather coat. It was like something from the Matrix, and that's what I was wearing when I nearly blinded him with a flash. Anyway, back to what was Mont.
I like the story.
I wanted to tell you, we were at the moment in Australia, we have a federal election coming up. I think we actually have to vote next weekend.
7 days.
Yes, Monty's count. You can imagine how Monty is in this, but he loves an election. And
I love a good selection. Yeah, I think the selection's been made. But anyway, you continue on. Yeah.
All right.
The local polling booth, I went past it yesterday, and out the front, it's right next door to a massive pet store, and they've got a huge sign out the front saying discount parasites here. You can get a parasite eradicator here. And the actual polling booth is in a closed down shop that still has a sign on it that says the reject shop.
Oh.
So that's like
when I elect Australian politicians.
When I was in San Francisco, there was this Chinese restaurant that I would go to all the time, and it was buy one, get one free. They always had these big signs up, and then a veterinarian clinic opened up right next to them. Okay. Puppies for sale. Buy one, get one free. And if you know anything about San Francisco, no matter what Asian store you go to, what might they call chicken is probably cat, and what might be Mongolian beef is probably dog. At least 3/4 of those stores, you aren't getting beef. It could also be horse. Okay? So fair warning, if you're ever in San Francisco, if it's stringy chicken, it's cat.
I'll add that to the list. It's not like, the lawlessness, the poop on the streets, the high drug taking. I'll add the all right. Yeah.
Similar to India, if you go to one of the rare places in India, particularly in the sort of northern half of India, it's pretty much dog. If you're eating meat, they'll tell you it's lamb or
it's dog. It's sheep. It's sheepdog.
This meat has seen a sheep.
Yeah, India's a good place to be vegan, but actually, the food's awesome when you're actually over there, especially southern India. I love the food in southern India. But speaking of food, sorry, Bruce, I'm talking about food again. What's happened to us? I'm sorry, Bruce.
Here in Melbourne, I'm in the federal seat of Deakin, and I can't remember who Deakin is, and I don't care. I'm writing zeros all in my boxes. That's how I'm voting, because that's how I vote. Nope. But the seat across where my dad lives is Chisholm, and it's a swing seat, and there's a lot of Chinese people there. And I saw a photo, we had smaller city councils, and then 20 years ago they formed bigger councils. And so where I grew up, it was Box Hill City Council, but then it joined with Nuttawading, and now it's Whitehorse, so it's a bigger area. But the old Box Hill city chambers or city hall, they've got the Chinese flag flying above it at the same level as the Australian flag. And a quarter of the Australian flag has got the Union Jack in it, but let's move on. And it's interesting, we should learn Chinese and everything else like that. And well, I thought we're slowly moving to India because finally the trade deal went through. And some general from the Air Force went and spoke to their military and stuff like that. And it kind of makes sense, because if we want to stay friends with the Americans, but we suck up to the Chinese because everything's made there, we're going to be put, I hate it when mum and dad fight. However, if we can get the same thing from India, but not China, we'll be okay, and China can be ostracized. Because, India, let's be fair, they're less cuntish. So it'll be interesting to see but they're pushing the whole China thing. But the Chinese have this weird thing that they are they're first, and the planet belongs to them. Now, as Andrew in the Galactic historian, there's 72 because of timeline wars and everything. There's 72 first species. But the Chinese, who I think turned up later, have gone, oh no, this is ours. You are foreigner. You go away. America, we had that before you. And it's the communistic.
Warning everyone, offensive accent there.
All right, everybody, we're gonna turn this over to comedy for a second. So everybody that's in the audience, Monty has got a vote coming up, and he's gonna do a write-in vote, and we want to take a vote. What is the best name that Monty should write in as a vote? I told him to write in Amber Turd.
Yeah, because that's original.
I wonder how many will do that. That's a great idea.
I've told you how I'm voting. So
Mont and I were chatting the other day about donkey votes and what we're going to do in them. But
and I've told you're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm not right.
Well,
you want me to write a word? I have to
penises.
spell. Jeez.
So go on into the chat room and write in who you think Monty should do as a write-in vote.
Yeah, and I won't do it. So who do you think Melissa should write in? Because she's voting in the same fucking election. I've told you what I'm doing.
Unless it's a good comedy thing, you will think twice, Monty. If it's a good one, it's a good one.
Yeah, but humans going to Hume. I don't think my level's really high for comedy. So impress me, people. Come on. Amber Turd, no.
Look, I was trying to avoid going to the actual polling booths on the actual day. And you can go in early because of the whole COVID thing stuff. You can go and vote early. But I've got 2 young adult daughters that are voting for the first time in a federal election, and they want to go for the experience. Oh, God. So
you're
going to queue up and fight off all the whole...
the gauntlet of zealots trying to hand you a pamphlet of vote for
How
us,
to vote
for us.
Yeah,
and you come out with paper cuts all up and down your arms. I'm actually going to be
election
cheeky.
is really good fun because there's so many new political parties, thank you to the pandemic and COVID and vaccines and all that stuff. So there's all these fantastic new radical political parties here in Australia. It's actually good fun.
Yeah, have you noticed as well that the media
Doctor
lumps
Who,
them up?
there's a good one.
Yeah, no, they actually they lump all those new freedom parties, and so they're trying to ostracize all those nut jobs that protested during COVID that wanted freedoms. So but a lot of people are actually are over the 2 big parties like the Coalition and Labor, and of course, said it before. Here in Australian
politics try to tell you that we're like America, where there's 2 parties. Like they try to do it like that, but actually that's not the case in Australia. But they try to sell it like that. And there's one party. So to most people in Australia, there's, excuse my language around, but there's the shit party, the other shit party, and the third shit party. And so they're the top 3 that you don't vote for, and you carefully monitor that the person you're voting for doesn't actually give their preferences to any of the shit parties. And so that's how I've instructed my daughters to vote.
It's the Coalition. It's the Liberals, the Conservative Party called Liberals. We're the only people on the planet that do that. That's fucking annoying. So you got Nationals and Liberals. That's the Coalition. You got Labor, and then you have the Greens, who are basically watermelons. They're green on the outside, red on the they're commie bastards.
So neither of you guys have ever been to.
So not green.
Yeah, you guys have never. You guys have never been to Vegas, have you? You're talking about the paper pushers. You walk down the strip in Vegas, and if you look at the person in the corner of an eye, 45 people come out of nowhere with every pamphlet of sexual activity, strip club that you could possibly never want. And if you take one, you're fucked for the rest of your life.
Yeah, they'll come after you again and again and again.
Right.
They do that at the International Comedy Festival that's held in Melbourne. It's not that bad, but there's like 400 shows all competing for the audience dollar. So you can actually see mid-level stand-up comics out the front of the town hall flyering for 3 hours a day just to try and get Edinburgh is the same thing. It's like, it's part of the job. You have to go out there and spruik and get people to turn up, and don't see Ross Noble. You can see the DVD. My show's funnier anyway, and all that type of stuff. It's kind of degrading. It's like, you should get into comedy. It's like, yeah, but what am I going to do for food?
I've had the ultimate spookers in Vegas. I will get dragged into clubs, like actually physically pulled in by the guy that I thought was a security guy, but turns out to be some sort of desperate spooker. It's like dragging you into these bloody clubs, and so it's fun. But Vegas is always fun. I'm not into gambling at all. It's just not my thing. It's never appealed to me. So I spend a lot of time just fascinated by the mathematics and the algorithms of how they've constructed the floor plans of casinos so people can't get out of them. It's clever.
Well, there's no windows and no clocks.
It's so bloody clever. But it's I spend most of the time just it's an awesome place to go. There's like such a light and dark aspect of it. And I never get tired of the Bellagio fountains.
Also, they pump in pure oxygen to keep you high.
They do, and the fabulous oxygen bars that are everywhere. I love those where you can sit there with your prongs up your nose, so to recover from your hangover. Not that I've had that, but I love the oxygen bar where you sit with your prongs up your nose, picking your mix of oxygen of what you want in it, and sitting there with a whole group of other people around the same oxygen. It's literally a bar. But yeah, I've danced on the Coyote Ugly bar. Yeah, I got dragged up on that too. But it's like, so the stuff you can do there, it's great fun. But the spruikers.
We've just been tapered by our comedy show.
If you've traveled enough around the world, Vegas is a fascinating place where you go, oh, this bit's like Egypt, and this bit's like, because literally as you're walking along the strip, it's incredibly opulent and incredibly, almost obtusely ostentatious. Actually, it is obtusely ostentatious. And then you take a few more steps and it's freaking poverty. It's just like, it's there's all these homeless people piled up and there's all this, and then you move along and there's, it's Vegas is quite the experience just to walk the strip.
It's got an Eiffel Tower, it's got the pyramids, it's got Luxor, and it's like, okay, I don't care if there is no
Statue of Liberty.
Yeah,
it's got a Star Trek themed hotel.
Yeah, which is probably more. Yeah, well, I don't know. I've seen Discovery. I like the Roddenberry timeline, but that's a different conversation. I wonder what the sacred geometry is. If you have all these sort of sacred geometry icons in one place, and also, what was it? 200 miles away, they were testing nuclear bombs, and so they used to have like green sunsets and stuff like that. Yeah, Vegas is weird.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, here's a little trick in manifestation for all of you too. I've never paid for a flight to Vegas, and I've never paid for accommodation there, because I don't know if they still do it given the current environment in airports and stuff, but they always used to overbook flights. And so I would deliberately make sure that we had made space in our schedule in case there were any delays or anything on the way home. You never know. And without fail, we would get there and they would ask people if they would willingly get off the plane. And if you sit there and no one puts their hand up, because everyone wants to go wherever they're going, no one puts their hand up, eventually they start bribing you to get off the plane. and then you just got to sit there until they get to full flights to Vegas, 3 nights accommodation at Planet Hollywood. And if you'll get off the plane, we'll take it. Thank you. And off we go. I've never paid for flights or accommodation in Vegas because I wait for that and just manifest for it to come about. And so we'll go and spend 1 or 2 nights there, free trip there, then we head home. And I've done that. I've only done it 3 times, but I've done it 3 times. Seriously, use it. So I've seen other people get accommodation and flights to Hawaii if they would break their flight. So yeah, use that one too. Manifest it when you go to the airport. Give yourself a spare couple of days on your itinerary.
How is manifestation these days? Because I've heard people say in the last couple of months, because something's happening, like the code in the holodecks changed, manifesting isn't the process of manifesting's changed because people are doing the same old stuff and it's not happening. Now, interesting enough,
we have master creators now. It's changed. Oh, this is such a cool
well, I was going. I did mention to you
because you talk about this week.
Yeah, I was going to say like the old anchors seem to have disappeared, but I can sense potential out there. Go ahead, Bruce.
They switched it to metric.
You cut out, Bruce. What was that? They switched it to what?
They switched it to metric. Andrew's fucked.
Oh yeah. They got rid of the. That's basically a good analogy of what's sort of happening. It's like they've gone from imperial to metric, and and everyone that's been using imperial's like, but I'm measuring a foot. What the fuck is 12 inches?
A yard's just not going to cut it anymore. You've got to get to a meter.
A meter? What the hell? Now the thing is about metric is like imperial's basically set up for Earth. Like you can't really. It's natural. The measuring of the planet Earth. If you go to Mars, you can take the same measurements, but it won't be natural to Mars. Metric technically isn't natural, but it is a set measurement and it can be used anywhere. If you notice in space, they use metric, especially after since even Ron Williams pointed this out. They had a Mars rover bury into Mars because someone was using metric and the other person was in imperial. Yeah. And so instead of landing softly, it buried because it just missed by that much.
I would not have wanted that team meeting, Monty, the next day.
Yeah, what the hell is all those German scientists? What are you doing?
I remember way back in the 60s when they did the old man walking on the moon thing, and Australia was one of the prime receivers. Actually, it was the prime receiver for the televised walk on the moon. Australia was. And NASA had sent out all the coordinates down to Australia, and they completely stuffed them up. Not only were they in in imperial, but they were all their coordinates were for the Northern Hemisphere. And so I can still remember that just before the whole thing, NASA had sent over the complete wrong coordinates for it to actually happen. And Australia had to completely redo them in a mass.
There's actually a movie, Remember the Dish, starring
fantastic.
Sam Neill.
Actually,
yeah,
I'm friends with the people that created it. The guys actually did Rob Sitch and Santo and Nick Buffalo.
Yeah, Working Dog. Yeah, it's I can still watch it. It's on. I got it on Blu-ray because I did have it on DVD.
It's a great movie.
Now in the story, so I don't know if it's 100% true, but it does. I guess they're touching on they lost connection with the limb or whatever, the craft, and so on. We don't know where they are, and they look out the window and there's this massive full moon. Like, why don't we just point it at that instead of trying to find out where it is?
We need a point of reference.
How about the moon? Yeah, it's a good Australian comedy if it floats your boat. The Dish, and it's about parks in New South Wales where
that's it. Parks.
Was it 2 or 3 points on the planet? There was Houston, I think Hawaii, but it was Parks was the
that one was honeysuckle. Oh no, that was in Australia. That was a backup. The Honeysuckle Creek. Goldstone was the one in the States.
Yeah, because they have 3 points because of the way the planet is, and so the moon disappears.
If it really happened.
Well, I mean, if you read Sands of Time, people have been there since the 50s, but yeah.
But, all the puppets were in place. So the science was still actually, the guys on the planet that were told they had to do this job to make it look like it actually did happen, whether or not it did, we're still all in place. So that story's still true.
Do you know what NASA says about why we haven't gone back? We've forgotten the technology. Over to you, Andrew, because this will be funny.
But we have gone to the moon. They just didn't tell us what happened when we went there.
Yeah.
Okay. And why haven't we gone back? Well, they don't know how to tell everyone about what happened. They didn't tell us what happened. Yeah. There's a big discrepancy of you go back, you got to kind of explain the other stuff that they don't want you to see.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why it's laughable. They say,
moon itself doesn't let you see it, everyone.
Yeah,
you only ever see one face of the moon.
Right.
Yeah.
And the moon is made of cheese.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is a rich Gouda. It is a rich Gouda cheese.
And if you've seen the movie Moonfall, you discover there's a French chef right in the center of it.
Yep. So we are at a point, we are at the 1 hour mark. So for those of you who have been eagerly waiting to tell us a joke, talk about comedy, we're going to ask you to raise your hand. If you are listening on the YouTube or any other channel and want to be a part of the call-ins, you must be here in the Zoomy Roomy. Robert's going to put up some information for you of how to, what is that gray box that keeps appearing, Robert? Covering everything up.
Oh, that's the Zoom windows. They say you click a button and it says hide Zoom windows. So they hide the contents of the window, but they don't hide the window.
Oh, wow.
Zoom? Come on, get with it.
Yeah, this is so much better than Skype. Blah, blah,
so
blah.
This is how you come to the Zoom room. Now, I will insult everyone to go, but I'm going to leave it to everyone else in this panel of people to encourage the hand raising, so I don't have to call you all chicken shits. As we get silence from the panel who's to encourage people to raise their hands, you chicken shit panel.
Well, yeah, I'm not falling for this again because we tried it. We insult them. They believe us. They don't believe you. They get threatened by you, but they get upset by us. It's so weird. Like, Andrew called me a chicken shit. Oh, he must obviously want me to do better in my life. What does he know? He's the Galactic historian. He can read the Akashic records. Monty called me a chicken shit. Fuck him.
And we got 2 people who have raised their hand. That's a whole bunch of chicken shits here.
So yeah, but when you say it, yeah, they think you may be tapping into something. You're a psychic. No, I say it. They think I want to fight them.
Exactly.
What do you got against chickens, mate? See, there's chicken lovers. That's what it is.
Somebody said you're not funny. You can be funny. You just have to try. Raise your hand. Yeah. Raise your hand and show us how unfunny you can be, and we will laugh at you, not with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, in a good duo, there's always a straight man. So like Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, as an example. Jerry was the idiot who kept making mistakes, and Dean's the smart guy who would feed lines. That's what a straight man does. And Morecambe and Wise in England. One of the funniest things I've ever seen is Morecambe and Wise interviewing the Beatles, where I think it's Wise. He's the one with the glasses. He keeps referring to Ringo as Bongo. It's quite good. So, yeah, you need a straight man sometimes, or straight person. Let's be. I like how it's like, there's 57 genders. Well, how can you say that? Well, because a male and female is a construct created by society, and it's just it's in your mind. And it's like, you just described all the other genders. Because, as I said to Bruce yesterday, I haven't met a non-binary squirrel.
Yeah.
Well, not that you know of.
I've said too much.
I tell you, if my teenage and young adult daughters were here, they'd be ripping into you. Like the hypersensitivity of that particular age bracket if you use the wrong pronoun, or and a great friend of mine who I've known most of my life, like I've known her, I don't know, 35 years, and I just called her, so my daughter would be ripping into me again, is now a they, although, and non-binary, but they haven't actually changed their name, so there isn't a dead name. It's actually one of the hardest ones I've got to get used to, because I've known them as a she, and she was, she's always been gay and lesbian, all the rest. I was surprised that she's actually transitioning. And so now it's a they. Well, they should be a he at this stage. Like surgeries and all have been done. And so I'm surprised that it's still they and not he.
It's a minefield. It's a whole just diversion and everything else like that. I actually,
I get the pronoun wrong, they're fine. But my daughter,
if I call them a snowflake as a pronoun, I am still identifying a pronoun.
Yeah, well, see, I use pronouns as well, like fuck and wit. They work really well. But also, I'm pro verb. So I'm just putting it out there. Pronoun, proverb, and those adjective people, they're kind of weird.
All right, Robert. Let's spin up the wheel of three callers.
We have a choice.
And see who is going to speak to us.
All right, I'm going to do ladies first. Edlin, signal to unmute.
Edlin.
Did you assume their gender? Sorry. There we go. Right.
How you doing, darling?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. What's going on in your world?
I got the lightning therapy last week.
Oh, tell us about it.
Thanks, Edlin. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I got it done. You know why I got it? Well, it's because Andrew scared the shit out of me the last time I talked to him. He said,
See? I do it. I get insulted. He doesn't. Everyone goes, I should do something.
And he's curious.
He told me that I'm old and that I only get like a free cup of coffee for like help or whatever. So I panicked. And so like I went to Dr. Brandy Howe, the one from Stardust Strand.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah. Just for the intuitive guidance. But like that was literally like right after Andrew and I spoke. It was in March. So something was going on with her, like her computer, her phone or whatever. So she didn't get back to me until like barely like 2 weeks ago.
I would only I would only add that Brandy's ability to do that was in fact a baptism by lightning.
Yeah, and I saw the spark of lightning like towards the end of the session. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But so I got because I don't watch like the news or anything like that, but I got the fucking coronavirus and that shit like attacked my brain. Like I literally like couldn't think. Like it was crazy. So what she did, she used like the Tesla machine on me too. She sent me a picture of it. So it was awesome. Like I was super excited. But so the lightning therapy, like I literally like felt it like the whole time. And she's awesome. She's so amazing. Like she's, oh my God, I love her. I love her. But it was just like I felt her the whole time she was working on me. I felt her when she would put certain crystals in my hands. And I just felt so much better. Like she cleared a bunch of stuff. So it was like amazing.
It seems to be the season for it. Everything seems to be shifting, and like I always remember, like this month I've had my cat for 9 years, according to the calendar. Sometimes it feels longer, sometimes it seems like, and the only thing really changed is like bits of her hair have gone white. She's still loud and annoying, and I'm in a better place now. Obviously, Melissa actually has seen the house. That's a rarity. Only 3 people have seen the house that I know. But just, I mean, look, think about...
Well, it's a bit like Narnia, your place.
Oh, yeah.
You almost have to go through the back of the wardrobe to get to it. And then it is like a little sanctuary. It's amazing. But you got to go through Narnia to get there.
But, I mean, if you want to look back 9 years ago, where you were and everything else like that, it's like, that's a completely different universe. However, I would say just look back 9 weeks ago, and it's still a similar thing, that whatever is happening really fast, but we're human, and so it comes across very slow in certain aspects.
I love your timing, Edlin. I love that the timing happened exactly when it did, and you've ended up having this amazing session with fabulous Dr. Brandy in between eclipses and with everything going on, the massive solar effect on the planet, everything that's happening, and that's when you had this amazing session done. The timing is perfect.
And all I did was motivate you so that you're not just getting the free cup of coffee every lifetime. You wouldn't did the senior citizen special. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it, Andrew. You see, you motivate people. I cause karma, and we just said chicken shit. That's the difference here.
No, yeah. So we're doing 5 sessions. So I'm doing another one on Sunday. It's gonna be awesome.
Well, did you have a good poo, a lightning poo afterwards?
I mean,
don't say that. My brain's gone like, I'm finished.
You didn't shatter the bowl. You didn't shatter the bowl with a lightning strike out your ass.
I'm a lady. I do that all the time.
It wasn't like an old guy with white hair and
these guys
and a DeLorean.
You are a lady, Edlin, and you don't sound like you're terribly old. So I imagine this would actually, the things that would clean out through your menstrual cycle as well would be amazing. Yeah. That actually gets significantly affected by lightning therapy because if you've heard Brandy's story, when she was actually hit by lightning, she started bleeding from things that made no sense. Yeah. Because there's the physical excuse for it, where they talk about the capillaries collapsing and all of that sort of stuff after the shock of the actual lightning, and part of that's true, but it's also part of the cleansing. And Brandy, and hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn with this, but she shared her story. She had actually had a hysterectomy and started bleeding vaginally after she got hit by lightning, which made no sense.
Oh, yeah, that's on her website when she explains what lightning therapy is. She like says it all on there.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't think I'm out to sharing that bit of news for her, but it's part of the cleansing and part of that blood cleansing. Andrew and I actually we were talking about this earlier, but I did a self-healing session or sort of a self-healing session. It was certainly guided by the navigator. We did a session together on me, and part of that cleansing is through the blood cleansing. It was through my marrow had actually been affected by things, and the blood actually had to be cleaned, and that's part of this. Like, lightning therapy is fascinating. I mean, my description of what it does is that it is like getting hit by lightning. Everything is like, think of it like speed of light. Think of it as speed of communication, speed of information flow, and And in that, it is a massive overhaul, not just here. It's through a lot of your lifetimes, again, not just on this planet. And so it's actually really, really cool. So her doing multiple sessions only makes complete sense too, because you will have to be reaching through those. But Andrew can probably explain it better too.
Yeah, Andrew, explain.
There is lightning. It goes through you. It cleanses.
Pretty much.
Come back next week when we expand even more.
Okay. Now
but
the
it cleanses the future as well. It reaches into the future timeline as well. So it cleanses what's ahead as well.
So as a child growing up, where I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, we have impressive lightning storms, 6-10 times a year. So impressive that we'll go all night long. And I was a lightning watcher as a child. I just enjoyed it. And then I got to be with a group that would drum in the thunderstorms, because the thunderstorms would start in Indiana, 300, 400 miles away, and they would go from 20 miles an hour to 70 miles an hour by the time it got to us, because the land is completely flat, hot, and humid. And before the storm would come in, you'd see this wall of bugs get pushed ahead of you. And you see the lightning at the very edge of the cloud line. And I was with a drumming group where we would go out to Fairport Harbor on the edge of this big giant concrete pier, and we'd drum in the thunderstorms. And just before it would come in, we had to run back, because you don't want to be at the end of that pier, because the waves pick up from 1 or 2 feet to 30 or 40 feet when the wind comes in. And let me tell you something, when you're a part of that type of community and group, you get to learn what the power of lightning is. And then I learned about fascia, decoupling the electricity that's in fascia. And I learned the very refined process of deep electrical work or electrolysis work within the body, and how to use lightning as a defensive technique as well as an offensive technique. Like in that session with you, it was like, find the actual communication thing, go up the communication line and zap the other side. When you have an understanding, lightning can be a very powerful tool. And just like the cartoons, you'll see the body with the skeleton glowing inside.
Like Marvin Home Alone.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Now, I have had to do that on many external beings that are invaders, and I will make sure that the lightning keeps up, gets stronger and stronger and stronger, to the point where the lightning is literally coming out of the ethers no matter where they are. They can't get away from it until they shut the communication down hard. Yeah, and if it turns back on, the lightning's waiting for them in suspension.
Can you cross the streams like in Ghostbusters?
Yes, and when you cross the streams, it becomes really intensive, actually.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about like in other places, but over here, we have like these crazy lightning storms. Like I don't think we had it this past October, but so I was an Uber driver, and so I would like drive like super late at night. And I remember it was probably like maybe like in the end of 2020, we had it was crazy lightning. Like I swear, like when I was driving, I thought it was like it was like the lightning, the telephone poles. I thought something was going on with the telephone poles, because it was just like, it was a different color. It looked like orangey. And I remember being younger, and like the lightning just seemed like clear to me. So I don't know if it's just switching. I don't know about lightning, but it was crazy.
Well, darling, thanks for calling in. We've got some more people raising their hand. We're going to try to get to them.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot for calling in.
No problem.
All right, Roberto, let's spin up the wheel of tri-callers and see who is next.
Alfredo. Signal to mute, Alfredo.
Alfredo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from, Alfredo? Hello?
He's not there. He was here, but now he's not.
It's a fake out.
His mic is unmuted.
Hello.
Hello. Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from?
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Welcome to the show. What do you think of the show so far?
Fucking hilarious. You guys have been on it today. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what do you want to talk about tonight?
Yeah, so I just had a simple question because it was something that someone sparked a conversation. They were talking about this guy that he was burying like all these 6-toed cats he had collected or whatever. And I was like, oh man, I thought about one of my friends in the past that had a 6-toed cat and I was always fascinated. I was like, I bet Andrew knows something about these 6-toed cats. And I was like, maybe he'll give me some information about it. But unless it's just 6 toes and it's just another cat.
I know nothing about 6-toed cats.
Oh, I knew it.
Nope,
I was like,
never heard of it. I know about other types of cats, but not 6-toed cats.
Well, why is he burying them? Like, I'm not concerned about that.
He was like collecting them or something. I don't know. I forgot the name of the dude, but I got to ask Donald himself.
I don't know. It sounds like some pot smoke stories that the stoners save for when the new guy enters the circle. Did you hear about the guy that collects the 6-toed cats? You're smoking it right now.
Yeah, I know a group.
Wasn't that Hemingway?
Stoners.
Didn't Hemingway have 6-toed cats?
Yeah, I think that was it. I think so.
Well, probably. But yeah, stoners though, like they could spend in 8 hours. Like, is it your bong? Yeah, is it frog's ass watertight? And then they go through. It's like, but if they use it, it's not. And like, 3 hours later, they're still talking about frogs' asses. It's the joy of hemp and weed. Like, well, technically, yeah, because like if they go swimming, the water doesn't get in, but he has to go to the toilet, so he has to come out. Yeah, for 8 hours.
Right. And Hemingway was a drunk of drunks. Okay. A hardcore drunk. And I would say that sounds like a drinking story.
Yeah.
Focus that eye.
Yes.
6.
Only outdone by Roald Dahl and his LSD. So he wrote some great books on that.
Well, yeah. Well, what like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the BFG, like, yeah. Well, I thought it was just strange, but if he had LSD, like, well, that makes sense.
Oh, he's renowned for it. His kids still talk about it. He's renowned for doing it. But absinthe was always the tool of the poet.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to polydactyl humans, 6-fingered, 6-toed humans, they generally fall something that is actually outside of the human species. They are a human alternative. They were commonly known as giants in our history's past, chimera-type beings. And what is the purpose of the extra finger? They actually have more meridians in their body, which allows them to process denser information from the other realities, and it makes them far more capable of producing manifestations in this reality. But it also has a negative side to it. Those extra meridians can be externally abused by those who understand the process of what these extra meridians do. Human beings in traditional Chinese meridians actually have a ghost meridian too. So you actually have you actually have a ghost meridian. And there are people that have 2 ghost meridians. I have run across it. Oftentimes these people are walk-ins at an early age, like age 5 or 6, there was a contracted walk-in, the soul walked out, and a new one walked in, and they generally have 2 ghost meridians at that point. Whoa. And there are many humans who are still born with tails. It's really common.
So like an elongated tailbone, or?
Yeah, like an actual tail that's like your finger, like it moves around and everything.
How long though? I've never...
2 to 3 inches. Robert, can you pull up a human tail baby
Interesting
picture?
If you've seen the movie Shallow Hell,
I was going to say
Jason Alexander's character actually has that little wiggly
tail.
Yeah, it's just an extension of the spine, and it's the DNAing because most of us don't need it, but it's still there. Like in sci-fi, there's a lot of stuff, like even in a Doctor Who episode where they're trying to rejuvenate every cell in the body. But if you tap into the wrong part of the DNA, you go back 4 million years and you come back as a pterodactyl type thing.
There you go. Tail.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A demon child. That's a demon child.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That was not a penis. That was a tail. That was a tail.
That's what it looked like.
Now,
that was my only question. I gotta
go
have dinner with the family, but I appreciate you answering. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot for calling in. Have a good dinner.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so talk about tails real quick. On that particular baby, that was a really long tail.
Yeah, it's
and when something, I've seen longer, but when they have tails like that, it's an extension of the brain, actually. That means the kid needed a bigger brain coming in, and your spinal column is just an extension of your brain and brain anyways. And when you have that much extension of the brain, that means that kid has a big plan coming in. And they have to have that right away.
Would that be removed, or would they live with it?
They generally remove that right away.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, as a human, having a tail isn't the best, because it's our body, like a cat's tail is integrated, but a human having a tail, it's like, how we have wings, but science doesn't support that. Like, if you actually have wings, how angels have it, like, you couldn't fly because you don't have the muscle strength behind it in a physical form.
Tina just asked a good question, Andrew. What happens to the brain if the tail's removed?
So it stops some of the growth, but the tail itself does not have additional vertebrae in it. It's like a dog's tail, or like if you ever seen oxtail, it's just cartilage. So what does it do? Does it hamper the child? Just like a dog, when you crop a tail on a dog, does it really hamper the dog? No, it doesn't. But the DNA, for it to unfold and the level of intelligence that fit in there, the birth had to have that tail in it.
I think, like, say in this moment of Meow, it would be actually part of the plan to have it removed, because by having it, as you said, you have benefits up and the higher part in the brain and everything else like that. But having it removed would be part of the plan, in a way.
Yes, generally. Now, there are people that have not had the tails removed, and they become very dexterous with that tail, extremely dexterous. Okay, they can pick things up. They can't write their name with it, but it's like an extension of your body. Okay? Yeah. There are people that can read Braille with their tail.
Tail Braille.
Tail Braille. Okay? There's all sorts of unique things. It's a highly sensitive system. There you go. Now notice how the spinal column is coming out there. Okay? Now, this particular person has it's not because they're super thin, it's because of the position of the spinal column, but you can see the spikes in there. That's actually cartilage. That's not actual bone in that tail.
Now, not to be a nitpick, but is this a real one, or is it
No, that's real. That's real.
That's a real.
That's real. Yeah, that's real.
Oh, yeah. Well, welcome to the age of misinformation, where that could have been cropped and blah 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 blah. But I only ask.
That's not reptilian. Humans. Again, there's 984,000 different species of human, and the vast majority of them have tails. Why? Because it's a very useful sensing instrument from the psychic side. Okay? Especially if you're in highly dense environments. It's like an antenna. Okay?
So now hair as well.
Right. So tails, they don't want them here because they don't want you to identify genetically with the reptilians. The reptilians like, no, you're not a reptilian. You don't have a tail. Snip that shit off. But they've also done a great job at making sure that those genetics don't regularly reoccur here, because they want the limitation to the genetics because it's easier for them to control.
As well, yeah, and what about the reptilian part of the brain, which they seem to tap into? Now, obviously, it's the brain, but it's still there. But they try and get everyone to live in that part of the brain instead of the left-right hemisphere.
I like to replace reptilian with mammalian. We don't actually have a reptilian part of our brain. We have a mammalian part of our brain. Okay, we are not an endothermic being, meaning we don't regulate. We self-regulate our own temperature. Okay.
Well, so, that backs up what I'm kind of saying is it's the mainstream. Oh, there's a reptilian brain, which is incorrect.
Right, mammalian.
Yeah, and it's fight and flight and blah blah blah. And instead of actually it's governing hardcore emotions, if that makes sense, instead of actually I like how Melissa does in her events, where how do you say emotion is the lowest form of communication. However, you can still be a master of it and not let it control you. That's just
what I usually explain is emotion is one of the lowest vibrations of what it is to be human, but it is the most essential to succeed at being human. And it's not about overcoming or quashing emotion. It's about managing it. And so I'm forever instructing people on that, so that because it's the door that can open you up to all sorts of vulnerabilities, and it's also the door that can open you up to all sorts of wonders. And so it's and
that would be linked to trauma. Like I know, I don't know if it is your spoiler. Andrew's Facebook page may not be Andrew sometimes, but one was trauma as a gateway drug, and that makes sense. And especially if we aren't taught in school how to actually interact and learn to manage our emotions. Just look at the British aristocracy, you stiff upper lip, just plow on, think of England boys, that type of stuff, by ignoring all those emotions. And you can see it in the 1950s, where everything was clean cut and above board, and it's not World War II and everything's perfectly fine. But if you just scratch that very veneer surface, all the dark shit, because people are still dealing with the trauma of the 1940s, where it was World War death, basically. And so by suppressing the emotions, it causes trauma and go on. Like I say to people, if they ask, let's be fair, allow the emotion to flow through, allow the emotion to run through you. Like, don't block it, let it flow. Don't let it control you.
Don't set up camp.
Yeah, don't live there.
Keep going through it. It's the old Winston Churchill quote: if you're going through hell, keep going.
Yeah. As
don't
an example,
stop for lunch.
Yeah. We made base camp just below we made base camp just below the snow line. No, don't do that. Queen Victoria is a perfect example. Now, I understand she loved Albert very, very much. She grieved for 4 or 5 decades. She died still in mourning.
Yeah.
And she was
everyone,
huge.
the queen is about to die, and Charles has been put in temporary charge. You guys hear about that? Yeah. Queenie's about to die.
She's having mobility issues.
Should have put money on it. I knew after Philip left, I knew that she would hold out for the Jubilee, and then she would depart too. And she's I actually look for everything you may hate or love about the Queen. I really admire what she's done. She's had a very, like the Dalai Lama, this lifetime for these guys has been monumentally huge. So much shift in the human or technology and all the other crap that's gone on in their lifetime, and they've had to roll with it. Unlike anyone else before them, any Dalai Lama before them, any monarch before them, any of that. And
she's the longest reigning monarch ever, apparently. Well, mainstream history ever.
Yeah, she's held up for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, she's surpassed Queen Victoria. She's blazing a new trail. No, you don't have to watch the TV show The Crown, but that's a great parallel to history, if that makes sense. So, it's not 100%, but it's worth watching. The
first 2 seasons are beautiful. Whether the story, it's a Netflix, so it's got a ridiculous amount of money. The cinematography of the whole thing is spectacular. Just watch it to see the beauty of it.
You don't. I don't care about the real royals, but I care about the characters. That's where I'm at. She became queen at 24 or 26 or something ridiculous, or however young. She was young, unprepared, because her father died of cancer. And what was it, 52, 54? No, it'd be 52. When she became queen, 51, 52. And you can just see, at that point in history compared to now, and she's had to deal with so much of crap, and she's stayed in charge because the Dutch royal family, they abdicate all the time because they realize, I'm getting too old, I'm 63, I'll hand it off to my son. But for whatever reason, the British institution, which is Andrew, is it 1,000 years? How long is this bloodline? Yeah, it's over 1,000 years long.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we're not praising them; they suck as well. But but there's still an achievement where they're still there. I thought they'll skip Charles and go to William. So if Charles,
he said he doesn't. He said he doesn't want it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So the people are asking where do the contracts go? That goes to the next person that's crowned. Now I got to understand those jewels are cursed as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are.
That is what traps them into those contracts and to the negative repetition process. Listen, as a queen, when she was just a normal girl before she was forced to put on those cursed crown jewels and to take up a responsibility she was never ready for, and she had to learn to exercise her free will. Guarantee you she ordered the whacking of a few people in her lifetime. For what reasons doesn't matter. At that high level, everyone's going to get bloody fingers, bloody hands. And this is not a judgment against the woman. There's so many people, she's a reptilian. No, she's not.
No, she's not.
She's not. Okay, we make jokes about it. She's a human being who has gone through a cursing of from the family lineage that locks them into the halls of power.
As well her husband was the true hero. Her husband was amazing. Philip was just incredible. That he had to, and they were such good friends. Thank God they were. But he was so amazing to stand guard as long as he did, trying to help her through it. Like
the interesting thing as well, she wears.
That's another thing about the crown, if I might say that too. What's his name? Matt Smith.
Yeah, Matt Smith.
Yeah, he depicted Philip so well. Geez, he did a good job.
Yeah, you forget that he was a doctor. Now, very quickly, there's the corporation of the crown, and then you've got the queen that wears the crown, and they're totally different things. Like in the Crown, the TV show, you see an element of as Andrew is pointing out, the family is constricted by the palace and the institution. It's not like, I'm queen, I can do anything I want. The fuck you can.
No, they keep the crown and the actual. They keep. The monarchy and the person separate. They do a very good job of showing that they're two separate entities.
She's just a ritual figurehead. But if you understand the ritual, she's just the sacrifice for the negative karmas of the entire state.
Yeah.
That's why it's the cursing of it. Does it grant her mystical powers? Honestly, I will be blunt. It does, but she doesn't want to use them. Because she knows it only comes with the price of blood. And she has done her damnedest to not be bloody. But unfortunately, being the ritual head of the Queen of England, blood is inevitable. How many colonies were there when she took over?
Well, I was about to say.
How many people suffered under the crown?
Yeah, even to today, just the suffering of the Commonwealth. It's just not England or the United Kingdom. It is the Commonwealth and Canada.
Well, three of us are part of that here.
Yeah.
People are making fun.
We are.
Yeah, there's a meme going around. It's like, it's a photo of the map of Australia. And it's like a photo of the world's biggest open air prison. And I'm thinking, have you heard of Canada? Now, Canada's just screaming no offense to Bruce, of course, but Canada is out Australiaing Australia with the insanity, where they're apparently they're going to bring in vaccine passports for travel internally in Canada.
Yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous.
Prince Charles is 73. How long will he last under the weight of those curses?
If I could put money on it, 2 to 3 years. He's already sick.
Yeah, he's already sick. He's already recovered bowel cancer twice, I believe.
Yep.
So 2 to 3 years. Who's next? Unfortunately, no, he's already said, no, I don't want it. There are many of other people in the succession lines, which is going to start the secret society battles within the English government to replace it, which will also be a new set of crown jewels that come. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of things. When one family ends and nobody wants to take over, the new one that's going to do will make another crown jewel for the collection, because technically those crown jewels belong to the state but the estates, the family of the estate, and the crest that it's under.
That's going to be interesting because, like,
Right.
you know how King George came into power. He was a Protestant. He was actually 51st or 52nd in line to the throne at the time, but all the from 1 to 50, they were all Catholics, and they don't like Catholics, so they had to have a Protestant, and that's why King George. You know, you have a German coming in the start of the 1700s.
Yeah, 1700s.
And I think it was like father, son, and then grandson of the middle one. I think that's how it works. George III's dad. I don't think it was 1, 2, 3. I could be wrong, but the three German kings, basically, of the 1700s, were interesting enough where a lot of shit happened. You know, the US said no, the French went off, and so on and so forth. But it'll be surprising, you know, how far down because they still think of bloodline, but really, I mean, you know how they discovered? It's slightly funny. They found King Richard III under a car park. Yes, the man who said a horse, a kingdom for my horse, was under a car park. They found out there's a guy in South Australia who is the DNA lineage of that. And he was asked, so do you think you'll contest the Queen for the crown? And he was a very smart man and said, no. Because if he said yes, he would have died in 3 minutes.
So getting back to the taking over. Now, for those people that want to hear a little bit of conspiracy world, again, the crown jewels are cursed as hell. If nobody in her direct lineage takes over, there will be a secret society battle unlike there has ever been before to take over the person who's going to take that position. Okay.
Well, even like in the mainstream thing, if like the Windsors and their bloodline, if William says no, and you know they go down the line, and if the whole family says no, we want to break from this, and they can. Let's be fair. After 1,000 years, even the 20th century, that's why The Crown is a great TV show. They show you all the shit that they've gone through. Right. How would they choose? Like, well, in the mainstream version, it was like, oh no, this person's related to whatever. Because I don't see a new family popping in and say, oh, we'll take over. Like, well, who?
It will go to the court.
You know,
right.
Amber Heard's good friend, Meghan Markle.
Well, it'll go to the exchequer courts, and this is where the most arcane of law systems, strictly only for the nobles, will come through, and these exchequer courts will go through the provenance of your lineage, okay, and from there it's going to determine how many secret societies are going to support you for that power to stay in power, because it will represent a fundamental change in how the king/queen, because it'll more than likely be a king that's taking over, which will then have the potential of creating the new colonies off world, or a variety of other things that will change the very course of what the Windsors have done as a ruling style.
Well, it's been said, now who knows if it's going to be followed through. A lot of things are going to happen when the Queen finally passes, because here in Australia, should we become a republic and break free? And the answer now is, we'll wait till the Queen dies. And so when the Queen, her figureheadness goes, be interesting to see how many people want to get out of the system that they have. And if they're going to go to the exchequer, which could be 3 years of arguing over who, because apparently it's divine right that these people can rule type thing. But I can see what you mean. They'll take it to ancient law and then secret society and everything else like that. Right. But at that time, the whole Commonwealth could just collapse, because everyone's like, no, it's in a disarray, and we want to break. We're old enough. Australia's been in existence as its own nation since 1901, so 120 years. Okay, the US did it. Why can't we? You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting when they announce that she's died.
So the other thing that could happen, is England itself says no king's going to take over. Now there's going to be no more kingships at all within our government, and have a governmental reform that puts the power to the premier, and it goes from a parliamentary system to a more like the United States, which would be a radical shift in perception.
The UK will be the last to go to republicanism. Yeah, the UK will be the last to go there.
No, imperial. It'll be an imperial process where the prime minister will be essentially the emperor, not a king. Yeah. Like Charlemagne.
Hey, speaking of royalty and global effect, hysterically, I've just been watching in the last 12 hours the whole Twitter and I imagine TikTok. I haven't been on TikTok for a while, but it's lighting up with the process of Amber Heard about to hit the witness stand again.
Yes, I can't wait.
Speaking of comedy, geez, there's been some good stuff. There's been so many. TikTok's been hysterical.
I saw a meme, and I'll share this one. Someone shared a meme with me. It's a photo of Amber Heard, and there's how they have a quote of the person next to it, and it's like, I don't know about you, but I seem to be the only person giving a shit in this relationship.
I think the funniest thing is people are reenacting parts of her testimony and trying to show better acting than what she's doing.
Oh, it's hysterical. The whole stepped on a bee thing.
Yeah, dog stepped on a bee. Exactly.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And they're all doing a better job of it, the whole thing.
Right. They're all doing a better job than the acting, which I find really what I find really funny is TikTok has now banned people from using cats dressed up like her and having the quotes of her thing. So you can no longer do a cat video based off of Amber Heard. They banned that off of TikTok. Yeah.
Why did they ban that?
Well, fuck knows. It's TikTok.
Who knows? I mean,
that's right.
Someone who wants a cat's offended. I mean, in parts of the conspiracy world, the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. Oh, it's a distraction. It's like you haven't looked at this correctly because there is an actual spiritual background to it.
There's some fascinating stuff to it, and not least of all, Andrew speaks of this really well about the corruption of the feminine or the divine feminine. This is a cleansing. Yeah. It doesn't look like it, but I mean, this, Andrew and I did a shared session 2 weeks ago on a girl that really showed.
She looks beautiful.
Yeah,
the cat looks beautiful. I'm not sure
the cat does.
Who's that person on the other side, but the cat looks gorgeous.
But the corruption of the divine feminine is something that's long needed attention. The issue of injustice in the justice system regarding domestic violence and the misuse of the system's abuse of the justice system as a form of domestic abuse has been out of control the last 8 years. In all of us in privileged society, so all of us that have an active device, okay, so around the planet. And so this is a fascinating topic in terms of spiritually what's going on with the feminine and what's actually happening. Look, there's no doubt there's too much evidence. We know the woman's frighteningly sick, hideously abusive. You have to admire that Johnny Depp, anything that has done has been defense. But in terms of the actual case, bring it back to what it's actually about. It's a defamation case. Let's just talk legal stuff, right? Defamation. He has to prove that she slandered him. If there's any evidence at all that he was abusive, he's lost the case.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But it's not actually a question. This isn't a domestic violence case. It's a defamation case. If it was a domestic violence case in a criminal court, the girl's screwed. But at the same time, here in Australia, she's facing jail time for perjury.
Yeah.
So as soon as this matter's over, she's facing up to 10 years in jail in Australia for perjury.
What I find most interesting about this case, how it's stealing the thunder from Ukraine, Roe v. Wade. It is making them a bunch of feckless, neutered people out there, and the media has no bill. They're trying to attack the YouTubers that are doing the law shows. It's backfiring on them left and right. It's literally neutering the capacity of the system to make a story that sticks. And we got at least 2 more weeks of this trial. At least 2 more weeks.
She's back in the stand. It's still her crapping on for the first half day, isn't it?
So she'll go probably another 2 days.
Oh my! At the snorting of cocaine in the stand. Why has she not been charged for that?
That real?
It was so obvious.
Yeah, it was so obvious. It was obvious.
Oh my God! Why is she's snorting an illegal substance in the witness box in a courtroom and no one's
California? They're Hollywood.
That's
California.
Virginia.
It's Virginia. It's Virginia.
It's Virginia.
Oh, okay. Well,
The thing is, everyone else has pointed out, but what actual proof is there? But the next time she tries to do
it, that handkerchief.
No, the next time it happens, if the Johnny Depp's team is ready, what's in your hand? And have the court search her. Okay, have the court search her. Okay. The other thing, she's wearing an Apple Watch, and she's not supposed to be in communication with anybody external, and she's using her Apple Watch to text back and forth to the people that are out there. Now, there are some other things. Like I said, the fact that it is taking away from the global narrative, it's taken away from Ukraine, it's taking away from Wade. When it's done, what comes next? Yes. When this case, doesn't matter who wins. I've always said since day one, Johnny's not there to win this defamation case. He's there to put the truth out. Okay. What comes next? Yeah. He's already won. What comes next? Yeah. Right. What comes next?
And I've got to say, Dior, if you're listening, goddamn, that ad is hot. He is hot. It's like, go Dior in their Sauvage ad. It's just like, that's gorgeous. And I'm not usually one to get crushes on celebrities or anything, but I have to say, I've got, it's even my younger daughter's like, wow, he is hot. He's got a whole new fan base. But Johnny Depp certainly won. But it's interesting. And I actually love that for him.
I watch Crowder occasionally, and he's Stephen Crowder on Ladder with Crowder, ironically. And he's pointed out he knows women that are for Johnny Depp. Have you seen anyone really supporting Amber Heard? Because they've gone, we know someone like her. We know someone who like her, and they're dangerous in society. Because there's even actors and actresses coming out that have worked with Johnny Depp. And when you're on set for 12 hours and you're only filming 3 minutes of footage, there's a lot of standing around, and you get to know people. And the person that Amber portrays, that's not the Johnny that they know from the thing, because he's a very kind, mainly because I think I'm going to just say after he finished 21 Dumb Street, he was happy with his life because once he's financially, he's because he's actually a musician. He went out to Los Angeles to become a musician, and Wes Craven's daughter said he's hot, and that's how he got into the movie Nightmare on Elm Street, and that started his acting career.
So, Robert, do we have anybody else with their hands raised, or did they all lower their hands?
What happened to Richard?
I think they. Oh no, Michael's there.
Aha! Let's bring on Michael.
Michael, signal to unmute.
Michael, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, where are you calling from?
I'm the same Michael that called 2 weeks ago.
From where?
From Greensburg.
Greensburg, welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today?
I don't really know, dude. I'm that same guy that raised his hand because he didn't want to be called a chicken shit, so I'm back.
See, once again, threatening. I was threatened, so I raised my hand, sir. How dare you, sir? I will see you outside at dawn.
Exactly.
So technically, you're chicken shit.
So
you were scared into raising your hand of raising it on your own free will.
You're right.
Well, Michael, what's your favorite Amber Heard moment?
I haven't actually watched the case, to be frank.
You don't need to. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
I haven't actually watched it live. I ask Andrew because he catches up with it live.
So. I'm addicted. I'm telling you, I'm addicted. I can't turn it off because there's so much other data going. There's so much. I'm seeing so much other data going on.
Yeah, that's right. Andrew, I'm fascinated by it, but I'm actually getting grabs off Twitter and stuff. He's watching it.
I follow the pop group the Veronicas on Instagram, and they keep showing bits of it as well. Like, oh no, they're addicted as well. So I didn't have to watch it. I just follow people that are addicted to watching.
Yeah, that's true.
So Amber's
Monty's got to be crushed on there.
Yeah. So Amber's lawyers, they are some of the most interesting, energetic beings to watch. One is called Rottenborn. Motherfucker, what did you have to be doing to born with that kind of name? Okay.
Oh the man who objected his own question.
Right. Your name is Rottenborn, defending the most rotten woman in the world.
That's the irony in that.
The irony in it, exactly. And then you have
it's the Rodney King case all over again.
Elaine, yeah, Elaine. Classic Karen. You could only imagine what it was been like if you were a kid to her, if you were being raised by her. Okay.
And the judge, watching the judge interact with Elaine, oh my God, she is sick of her shit. It's so funny.
Yeah. They're not supposed to debate the objection in front of the jury, and that's all she does is debate the objection in front of the jury. And I really think at some point the judge is going to take her aside. If you continue to do this, I'm going to sanction you.
Yeah. I'm surprised she hasn't yet. She looked really close.
Yeah, I'm really surprised it hasn't happened yet either.
Yeah, but then I'm surprised that no one's had the girl charged for the coke. So that's that.
Well, once again, you that's hard to catch in the moment, and people caught that because it's different.
Oh no, I was going to say is that Johnny Depp, but no, he's over there in the witness box.
No. That's Photoshop. That's Photoshop. Probably some kind of Photoshop or something. Anyways, if they do something to catch her on stand because she can't stop herself, but then again, at some level of this information has made it back to their team and people know the gig is up. And I have said this for a while. I truly wonder if the time comes for her to go back on stand, or for Cross, she calls in sick.
Yeah.
Okay? Or worse.
My concern, I was about to say, my concern is that if Amber Heard realizes her only way out is martyrdom by suicide.
She'll do it. She'll do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she's courageous enough. You have to be pretty brave to do that. But it wouldn't surprise me if she OD'd on drugs.
Right.
And so that's occurred to me. And that's her only hope to save martyrdom in her perspective.
Right.
So, and she's pretty desperate. So,
from my point, I didn't see a martyr. It just basically proves everything that she's done, if that makes sense. If she goes to that, I'll just OD on. See, I'll be right because I've OD'd on drugs. To me, it's like, well, no, you've exemplified your own character by killing yourself. It's like, well, I was going to say her PR guy, but her PR guy needs a legal team of his own now.
Right.
My God, her team is just a nightmare. Her PR guy, who's such a sinister scumbag, is up on the sexual assault history of him is phenomenal.
Yeah, and the fact that he scrubbed everything out of the entire internet about him in minutes. Everything is erased. Website, everything.
We've already seen it, dude.
Yeah.
Too late. But he needs his own team to save himself. But it's just I can't help feeling a bit sorry for her. It's just ugly on top of ugly on top of ugly, and she screws herself so badly in that witness box. And then when she pulled out the Kate Moss thing, and I just went, I didn't even see Johnny Depp's barrister doing his fist pump and all of that stuff. I just went, oh, chick, what have you done? You just opened oh my God. But it was just because she opened the door to bring up all past history, past relationships, her history of criminal charges for assault.
All of that,
Oh, my God.
And the ones that weren't reported, the ones that were silently put away when she had road rage incidents. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that never made it to the truth. Okay.
So wait. So what you're talking about is this new Law and Order show, the celebrity unit? I'm just it sounds like episode 7. Oh, this is where Amber Heard does cocaine. Right. Oh, all right. You just occasionally you need to just go dung in between the breaks so it can feel like a Law and Order show.
Yes, as Frida just said, she'll probably write a book, try and turn it into a movie about, oh, poor me, and this is how justice wasn't done, and blah, blah, blah. But in fact, what I'm hoping does come out of this, and surely it will, because it is such a ridiculous circus, that the criminal court as well as civil courts will actually start shifting perspective on how domestic violence and systems abuse as a form of violence against victims it's got to change. It's just hopefully that will be one of the better outcomes of this. But it's certainly beyond it. So we're watching this play out, and it's certainly a circus and entertainment. And and a number of people have said, Johnny Depp's he's one of the best actors. He's an amazing actor. Have a look at his history. Watch Benny and June. That's a sweet thing. So that goes way back. But he is a phenomenal artist, a master craftsman, given that, as Monty said, he came to that world as he is an amazing musician. And that was the life that he would have chosen. And he's still turned what he does into a master craftsmanship. And maybe that's why he's one of the rare actors you see that doesn't take his character home. He holds his separation of, similar to The Crown, like he holds his separation from his job and who he is.
Well, if you remember, Amber actually complained, is like, "Oh, what's it like? It's just old men playing guitar." And then,
oh my God, and who are they? It's like Joe Perry and
Johnny Depp's other job at the moment is touring with Alice Cooper, not the band. Like Alice is in a band with Johnny in a different band, and they're touring the States. And that's why another thing, like, why would I cut my finger? Guitar. He's actually said guitar is my number one love.
Yeah.
I love playing guitar.
Music's one of my intelligent one of my number one loves. I would have been a puddle of swoon if I was in that room. I just would have been a little puddle on the floor going, oh, at all these amazing musos. And it was boring. Could you frustrate me anymore, girl? Like, God, girl, you are dumb.
Yeah.
But there must be something. She's still got to where she's got. There must be something really magnetic about it.
This is the histrionic part of the personality disorder.
Oh, that's the scariest part to me. She's terrifying.
So the other thing is she's probably actually fully multiple personality. And no one has actually done the extended examination in her to prove it. Melissa, you have a special thing you want to tell people. We're nearing the end of the show, so why don't you drop your little special?
Oh, all right then. Kind of completely not in that frame of mind. All right. So if you can see me on the screen here, you can see my name plainly. All you have to do to go to my website is take the spaces out. melissahawkinghughes.com. That's it. If you go to my website, there's a little pop-up that comes up that is, sign up for the newsletter. Warning, newsletter, I write it myself. I don't hand that out to anyone else. I don't delegate. And that means you'll probably get a newsletter maybe every 6 weeks because I have limited space in this timeline. Don't worry, I don't harass, we don't do the hard sell. But if you sign up for that at the moment, I've switched it up where you get sent straight to a free self-healing course. It's now free. I've made it free. They're not happy, but I am, because this little self-healing thing, it runs for maybe 10 minutes. And the process of the self-healing is so simple. You can use it again and again throughout this lifetime. And every time you use it, it's only going to get richer, better. You're going to get healthier. You can use it to calm yourself, boost your immunity. Honestly, do the thing. So you stick your email address in there and you get to go straight to it for free. It was monetized. I canceled that personally and said, no, this is going to be free for you guys. So jump on that and do that. The second thing, what was I going to tell you? Oh, second thing too, if you go on Facebook, I've created a new group on Facebook. It's called The Irrepressible Healer in You. If you go to my page, Melissa Hawking Hughes on Facebook, it'll take you to the group. Join that group. Every other week when we're not here doing the comedy thing, I'm going to do a live stream on there, just an actual instructional live stream where we talk about stuff. And so you can jump on there as well. That's a Facebook group, Melissa Hawking Hughes, very exciting page name. It's all it's easy. It's your fault. But yeah, jump onto the free self-healing thing. It is so powerful. It's a really simple tool. You can do it anywhere, anytime. No one's going to know what you're doing. So if you're in a meeting, if you're somewhere and you need to change and shift the energy in the room, the frequency of yourself, calm yourself down, this thing has been used. Thousands of people have learned it, and the stories that come back from it are so cool. And so definitely do that for yourself. Jump on there. So that's your freebie. Congratulations. You have a little prezi for me. So yay.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Monty, want to give away for people to get a hold of you?
I am filling in for Sean David Morton later tonight, say in 3 hours. I'm doing Strange Universe, which is at freedomslips.com. Just click on Hawk's Nest if you want to hear me waffle for 2 hours. Sean is actually going to see the person named Paul McCartney tonight, and so that's why I'm filling in. So I'll be talking about Paul, or is it Fall? but also on Twitter at Real Monty Dean, on Facebook Monty Dean, as well as Wafer Thin Entertainment, which is on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, what's the other one? Facebook, and BitChute, and Odyssey, and Rumble, and Spotify, and Apple. So Wafer Thin Entertainment basically is the main thing, and I will be seen on Monday. Let me finish. I also will be seen at a supermarket on Monday because I get paid.
All right, we were able to waffle on together on Sean's show. How long ago was that? Sorry, meme the timeline. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I think. But I filled in for Sean on Monday because he came back from. So yeah, I was amazed that I could monologue for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, I did it.
So he's going to go see the faux Paul show.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Bruce, giveaway for people to get a hold of you.
Yeah, I write books, man. You go to Amazon, get a book. Also, I'm thinking of doing a YouTube video on how to change your kernel to have a USB mic on Linux.
Yes.
Horrible week technologically. Yeah, grab a book. Anything you want to read there is probably pretty good.
All right, you all know who I am. So we are running a special on sessions for those that are looking to have a private session with me. You can go to the website, andrewbartzis.com. Also part of that special is if you sign up and have a session, you will get half off on the Living the Mystical Life Daily course. Also, I am proud to announce in August, we will be starting a new mentorship program. So everyone that is out there that has been waiting for a mentorship process, it is going to be open. I am going to be selective. There are a limited amount of spaces in there. There's only so many I can do. So everyone get your ducks in order. An email will be coming out in the next week or so about some of the instructions of what to do. I will be interviewing people. This is not just pay and everyone gets in. Unfortunately, I have to do that because part of this process is giving you intense amounts of time. Now, people have asked me to make it more open to everyone. There's a possibility I might add a second, shorter process to it, but we'll see what happens with the first group of people who want to go for the full year, the full set of training. All right, Robert, take us away.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge, it's the Holy Grail. Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality. Hello, let's create, let's co-create, and let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the Mystical Life Daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. Living the Mystical Life Daily is about facing obstacles and challenges. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You can make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.